Hello, everyone! In this episode, I'm going to tell you about the show. That's the difference in his pattern. Then he's a lot. If there's this ball line up here, we are. And then we're going to fix this part of the plane. His zone is a flat effect. And then he's above this ball line. This top yarn this ball. We were the last to put it on. This one down here is shaped like a flower or something. And then we are. And then we're gonna fix it. First, sew the underside color. Flowers and the like, including this ball line. It's just that we need to fix it first, this part. I'm going to show you a couple of different patterns. If it's anything like this one, and this part of the stereo, it was hooked for him. If there are flat and crocheted, or we need to secure the ball line first. You hook him up first. We're all the last to fix it. Something like that. They're all fixed at the end. After sewing, after making, and then we're gonna fix him. And then after receiving the line drawing, there will be a special mark. And then finally the ball above the ball. And then you go first. After sewing, something like that. It's just a pattern in a circle. There is no fixed position. What kind of position do you like to fix it in? Keep it in place these balls on top of these balls. It was the last thing that fastened it on. A flower shape for this line. It was sewn on last. There are planar and three-dimensional. Let's do the three-dimensional part first. Be sure to remember, there are these wool balls. Now let me tell you a little bit about these stitches. Or how is it made? Once you've received your kit. Coaster. We all have a line drawing like this. Everyone according to their actual received line drawings. Then take out the mesh cloth. Put it on top of the line drawing. I'll give you one of these markers, too. Everybody use markers. On cloth. And then I'm here. Demonstrate these stitches in the back and septum some of the processes. We don't have to aim too hard for the pattern. And then follow this line drawing. Give him a rough outline like this. Everyone according to their actual received a pattern. And then trace. It doesn't matter if it's a little biased. It's the root. Just take it down for a second. So I'm tracing it onto this grid cloth. After you've sketched it, you can start making it. If there's a three-dimensional part, this part of the stereo. If there's a ball line, and here we are. You need to cut it out when you're crocheting. When you crop it, it's two in a group, two balls in a group, and then cut it from this side when we were crocheting and fixing it. So cut it out in groups of two. If only to report, there's no way we can secure a call for help. Cut him out like this. After cutting, and then when we fixed it. His words of this color. Well, we don't have a particular order, based on a color you like. And then they cross each other. You'll find them in the materials pack. Ball line. So let's see. And then from the edge of the pattern here, which part of us holds the ball line in place? And then by. The crochet hook goes through the grid like this. Then put. Above the crochet hook. If this line is longer after pulling it out, then we are needed. Go one space ahead and give it to him like this. Then take out the next group. Unfasten in this way. One space up and give him the wire in first. La yeg. And then take the next group. We can do this if it's big. Just left and right and back and forth to fix him. We're here when it's fixed. You don't have to give it to him in the grid. Get him all fixed up. Ball can cover this. One at the bottom of the grid. Just make him look like this. You don't have to fix him, it's dense. The ball line is a color gradient. And then based on what you received. US. What kind of a matching effect do you want? You know, dark and light. Be sociable and hook him up. Each group fixed him like this, until the whole pattern is covered. If I get to the last group here, and then the coil here is huge, give him the same in the front. Tick it off. After a tick out, he's to balls. Hook him out of this one coil. Crochet out and hook this one ball. Pull it straight out of this one coil. Pull it out and pull it up tight. That should do it. Any pattern with this one ball line. We all use this method. And then finally this line segment up here. Stick it with scissors. Just cut it off for him. Okay, so this is how you fix the ball line based on their own actual pattern. Let's take a look. Ice thread we got here when we're crocheting. And then I crocheted on. Hook time. And then you hook this ice line directly into it. Pull it out, pull it out. There's a little coil. Then hook this part of the thread. Pull it out for him. Give him a pull like this. After cutting the wire end, crochet from the inside of the grid like this. You can hook it diagonally like this. And then it goes diagonally like this. This box on the left goes in the needle. Let's just draw the line like this. Just a little bit smaller. Can make. Then push the needle forward. Snag line. Pull it out of this coil like this. Pull out the height of this coil. At a height of about 1.5 centimeters. Don't stretch it too long. A length of about 1.5 centimeters will do. It's probably the same. And then we keep going like this and there's an empty space. Expellant needle. You don't have to cut it very dense. After you hook the next coil, his height is probably the same. When we were hooking, here we start with the thread of the pattern. And then the second row when we hook it again. Pull him over here. Then crochet can be done from the front a little bit of this. Get the needle in bug. And then you tick it off. Unhook at this height of the ticked line. Make sure it's all right. A little variation is okay. But don't make it too long or too short. And then grid us here when we hook. He is not a fixed one, is the shape. Or he was when we were hooking up. Not every box has a check mark on it. Check it out as you go. Where can I need it? We'll just hook him up like that. Hook time. It could be flat like this or vertical like this. You can get the needle between the two bars like this. until you put the whole pattern into shape. Fill it up, and then one last shot we got here. Also injection. Just pull it out for him. After pulling out, you can just cut this one for him. And then pull it off here. That should do it. We'll fill him up with all the patterns. Just fill it up according to the size of the pattern. For the three-dimensional part, we're mainly crocheting. And then there's a part. This part. We need to use crochet here too. This part of the yarn. And then there's a color that we mixed. And then what colors did he mix? We'll mix it up and fix it. If it's one color. Now let's look at the wool. Now let's look at the yarn. How did we fix it? If it's a single color. If it's two colors mixed together. To crochet, we just need 2 wires. Then go around together at the same time. We're winding the wire here. The 2 colors are going to wind the thread together. Here it is while winding. Then wrap it out a length. It is more appropriate. We try to wrap our fingers as much as possible. This part of the fingertip should not go back. Wider lines are longer. We actually use the line of dowel. Because after we fixed it up, we still need to cut it out. So when you wind the wire, is to use this part of the fingertip to wrap. In this way. Bring him together like this. Wind the thickness of the wire, then do not be very thick. His line is longer. Then try to keep it as small as possible. A few laps or so will go. Cut him out once. Cut and remove the middle 2 fingers. And then the index finger is where we fixed it for him. Pull on this coil. Straighten him like this. Cut it open like this. After cutting it out, let's just try to use this length. Go fix it. The way you wind the wire in the back is the same. But when we were working on it, you have to press it. It's a lot if you coil. A lot of winding, and he must have wasted a lot of it. I can't do it. When we were winding the wire. And then when you wind the wire, give it as many laps as you can. Cut it in the middle like this. Cut a section and then start fixing it. It was based on us when it was fixed. A shape, and then we go fix it. If you look at the words on the top of the grid, it has 4 sides. And then when we fixed it, we can fix the vertical row. This one thread. But most of us were fixed at the time. The vertical row. And then the one in the middle we don't have to worry about. This one line up here. And then when we fixed the wire, It's two wires going together at the same time. Two colors. Let's just take out one color. They're all two. The two colors are the same. Take your index finger here and fold it in half like this. Fold it in half this vertical row from the grid here. Then insert the needle from the front, a needle in the back. And then pull it out. Make the coil as big as you can. Just pull it out a little. It's easy to hook it up. Pull out the thread and push the crochet forward. Then use thumb and forefinger on this end. Give him. Finally, lift this part of the thread up. Put the coil in it for a second. One of these will keep us in place. After fixing, on this vertical line. Okay, and then we do the same thing with two sticks. Inserting needle. And then hook this part of the thread back to him. Pull forward. Pull him tight. Knitting is a bit slower here. He didn't, if we're checking this. It doesn't require any skill. It's just a matter of attaching it. It just might take a little longer. But after this one thread is fixed out, he is very good looking. Lots of lawns for us. And then the effect is very good. Hook the middle part like this, and then pull the thread out for him. Once the row is fixed, the second row is the same. Ahead of. This row is all vertical, this row, this line. After ticking, then draw this part of the head. It's just not easy to pull out. And then will be easy on the hook. Be apt to. This is how wool is fixed. And then you don't keep giving it to him. And then you follow the whole graph. Once I've crocheted him up, this line of his words. And then when we were cutting, depending on the length we like. And then go trim him. Just trim it off for him. That's all you have to do to trim it down. And then it's all planted. Just trim it flat. And then these words. Then go trim it. You like it if it's a little longer. We'll just put the ones with different lengths on them. Then trim and flatten. If you like him a little shorter, You can cut down more slowly, but don't cut him a lot all at once. It was cut very short on purpose. You give it to him again. There is no way. Make sure you go down there slowly. Just trim it to a length we like. That's it. After trimming, all of his threads are like this. If you want him to have the fluffy feeling. And then you just give him all the threads like this. Just pick them out for him like this. There are 4 little bones in a thread. And then you're all like this. That's it. Because it takes time. In fact, this is also very good looking. This is one way of fixing the wool. 3-dimensional total is the need to fix the ball line. Once the solid part is fixed here, and then let's look at the plain part. The fixed thread is called coral wool. When you get the coral wool, cut it to this length yourself. And then we were pulling the strings. This thread is easier to knot. Take it slow. If you pull hard enough, let's subtract the length of the line. Not too long. It takes us a long time to sew. So just the right length. Coral fleece. After cutting out a piece of line, the pinholes are relatively large. According to their own threading a method of habit. Coral wool we're sewing here. It's sewing this lattice. It is not recommended to sew too long. And then draw the needle from the edge of the pattern here. Because when we were sewing, and then the space is 3 spaces apart. And then continue to follow. The next hole goes like this. Or if our designs are big. Or you can sew along this grid. If you're sewing along the grid, the same. Sew like this. Every row is next to every row like this. Keep filling the whole pattern like this. This is one way of sewing coral velvet. Sew hem on like this. And then the second row. From the first row of sewn inside this lattice, there's a needle in the top box. And then we'll go ahead and sew him another layer. The sewn surface is very flat. If after a thread is sewn, press the needle under the thread on the back like this. Just put it through. And then at the end, behind oneself, fill it all up. All purchased. The filling of the surface is based on their own. And then just stuff him all up. After filling, ball line words. We can do it ourselves. Or maybe you have some extra thread. A line with extra color can be itself. Just do some DIY on it. Just based on the effects you like. And then it's okay to match it with him. And then let's look at the ball and the ball line is. We are. It's usually one color. Go get him this one. And here we are when we're winding the wire. We went to wind the wire together. The winding is probably in. If the ball is a little bigger, the ball is in 30 to 35 laps. The one around the finger, 35 or maybe 30 laps should be fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. After winding the wire, then cut out a 10-centimeter section, a line segment of about 10 to 15 centimeters. And then we take the finger out here. Take 2 fingers and pop the coil like this. Separate the back line from. And then we put this side in. Go through it and wrap it around him again. Wrap it around again and put it on him again. When you pull the wire, it's at this midpoint in the coil. And then pull him tight like this. Tie this end of the thread and secure it. The thread must be pulled tight. After securing the coil, use scissors to cut the coil. And here we lift it up from the top and cut it. Cut it out like this. 2 wires fixed here. We're going to need it at the end. Don't cut it off, everybody. And then put the whole thread up. Let's clean him up like this. And then pinch the top here for him. And then put it up like this. Just trim the long part. Go ahead and give him a trim. It's an effect of spreading out. We use pins here. Then use a pin to pick all the threads out of it. Go pick it all out, strand by strand. Let him have a fluffy one effect. after making. If that's what you think it is. And then slowly trim it. It's time to trim. Slowly trim this shape. The edges are not the same length. Go trim it up. It's all trimmed up and that's it. After trimming and trimming, it's time to fix. We're here when it's fixed. You need to use these 2 wires. Then you can use a crochet hook or a pin. Hook this thread for him on the back. We are here at fixed time according to ourself. A fixed position according to your preference, or you based it on reality. And then you can fix it. The ball line is placed in the position. You can put it anywhere you want. Give him this. And then another one. Go put it on for him. Never thread 2 threads through one hole at the same time. You have to wear them separately. After separation, fix him twice when it's fixed. It'll be firmer this way. And then finally cut the extra thread for him. Don't cut the thread too close. Leave a little bit out, so the ball line is in place. Fix it to this one. This ball is next to the ball line. Next to the ice line is this one. All over the lawn is fine. It's just randomly placed. It's a little smaller. I can cut it out. Give it to him slowly. And then let's take a look. Shape this one ball line. How do we go about making it? White words. This part of the flower looks like it was pasted on. A yellow thread went to bind his heart while tying the wire. And then look at this flower part. How do we make it? I'm going to use a random color here. Teach this one way. Use 3 fingers to wrap the thread. The number of coils is 12. Just go around 12 times. He'll end up with this shape. If it's less winding, is the shape of a flower. Pinch the end of this thread. "12 turns will do and then cut it out. Cut a piece in another color. Then take out the middle finger. 2 fingers pull the coil apart like this. The same. Fix 2 turns. Pull a coil on him like this. Then line up the threads again. From this one, bring the coil to the center here to tighten him. Then take out the finger. Put this part of the thread end. Tie it tight. It's fixed the same twice. Hold it in place. Line. Cut it for him like this. after cutting. It's weird because it has different lengths of line. Let's do it here first. The thread is spread out with a pin. Pick it all apart. Once you've sorted it all out, trim slowly. Trim it into this circular shape. And that's the trim. It's a shape that's all round. After trimming, attach the long end of wire to it. First thread a thread and then thread it through here. Fix a position that we want to fix. Put one through and then the other one through. Put it in from the side. Then pull the thread from the back. Knotting. Cut the wire end. And then I'm gonna give him a shape. This is how little flowers are made. It's very simple. And then how many words we need. And then the last words. Fixed position, he is not fixed. And then according to our own preferences. Or you could add a few more. Just keep it all in place for him. Here the flower part we are. He needed to be sewn on with this pin. Even if it's sewn into place, it's not fixed. This length of his, it's about 1/2 centimeter. Just not too long. Long lines don't look good either. Slightly shorter. And sew it in the middle like this. Go from the side to the center like this. All he had to do was pull 5 lines. There are different colors on it. We used light green for the base color, and then this point up here. It's a color of grass green. We're going to take the color of a piece of grass, and then randomly order him some. It's just a couple of lines. Because he was just that, after all. And then just give it to him. Just bring in a little bit. I want to tell you about the flower part. How to sew. Take out a piece of line. Into the pin. The ends of the wire give it alignment. Then tie a knot. Just fix it like this. When I started sewing, it's in this lattice on the back. It comes out of this one coil. This end of the thread. This makes it easy to attach the thread to the back. And then when we start sewing, the thread should not be too long. Don't pull the thread too tight. The two lines line him up like this. Go from the side to the middle like this. This is how the flower is sewn. And then finally tie a knot on the back. Tie him in a knot like this. Put it through him like this. And then finally cut it. Just fine. Let's take a look. Take out the thread and wrap 14 coils around your finger. After winding, cut a piece of wire and thread it through the coil. Secure this end. This knot could be a little tighter. Then cut another paragraph. This end. That's what the petals do. Then fix the petals. The wire section holds the tighter end. The fixed wire ends are threaded in this way. Mesh lining. Secure all the inside ends first. Then fasten the rest of the end. That's half the time we're done. It's the same with the love heart. Here's the sexy part while we're fixing it. And finally through the middle of the petal here. Then tie the end of the thread. Let's move on to the beef and mushroom part. For the top of the mushroom, we need 5 beef sticks. Take out one first. Then fold up. The height of the fold is about 2 to 3 centimeters. Don't fold it over too long. Twist it around the top like this to hold it in place. And then the back of the fold. One of these folds 4 times. We need to fold 3 new buns in total. When the 3 pieces are folded, take out one piece and cut it in half. It goes through the bottom loop. Tuck the ends together and keep them in place. Cut off the long parts. The same goes for the bottom 2 ends. Then So we're done with the top half of the mushroom. Now let's make the rod part. Take one piece and fold it in half and cut it. And then fold them in half again like this. Then take out a new one and put it down. Let's wrap it around like this. Bottom part. The 4 button rods are reserved below. This is the last way to separate him. Here the mushrooms are the last to be fixed. It can be fixed anywhere you want. Put this new clam in it. It's hard to wear apart, so they merge together. Finally, give him the words of this button stick on the back. Break him up like around here. And then hot glue it in place. Heat gel is applied to the back of this one. And then push the button on it. Then apply glue to the top to secure this part. So we've got the mushroom part fixed. Now let's look at sleep. Take a knob and fold it in half and cut it. Roll down from the top here. Roll 2 or 3 loops like this. The last end goes inside this one. We just need to lock him in. Once it's fixed, then adjust the shape. That's how you make the twisted stick part. Finally, the three-dimensional part and the plain part. How to make? If that's not clear to anyone,